Hey folks, welcome to ADSR. I'm Stephen Ellestad. Make sure you subscribe to the ADSR YouTube channel and follow on social media. In this first look tutorial, I wanted to take a look at a particularly cool new plugin I've come across called Atomic Transient. It's by Molecular Bytes. You can find it at molecularbytes.com. Atomic Transient is a transient shaping and manipulating plugin, but it does a little more than that. Most transient shapers just simply let you adjust the actual transients and move them forward or back, increase the bite or the softness of a particular sound or audio file or what have you. And Atomic Transient takes it much, much deeper than that. And I have just started to really crack the surface of this thing. It's a really, really deep rabbit hole here. But I really have found that it's a very powerful tool for tonal shaping in general. It comes, first of all, with a really nice, getting you started kind of factory library, broken up into different types of particular uses. And one of the cool things about it is that we have multiple channels that we can turn on and off with different thresholds, and it even has a polyphonic mode to let us adjust things to handle layered or multi-tonal events. And for every particular channel, we have all types of shaping possibilities. First of all, the actual triggering of the plugin with a basic threshold set per individual channel. We can turn up to 3 channels on and off, and they can all have different amounts of polyphony, minimum time and silence, as well as character settings. And we can adjust the slope, as it were, the dB per octave, and the frequency range of the triggering or filtering device. So right now, I've got this Berimbau. And I can do all kinds of cool manipulation with it. And we can choose one of 2 different effects, either an envelope or a filter. In the envelope, we can actually adjust the specific levels of each of the envelope characteristics, as well as the amount of time allocated to a particular characteristic. Right there, there's a lot of tonal shaping. Even when we turn off polyphony, we can also have the mix, either mixing from the input, which is an independent section from the trigger and the mixing, or the basic trigger. What it's reacting to is actually what's being blended out and put out. And we can, of course, adjust level, residual, do a fair bit of cool tonal shaping right here. Regardless of whether you're working on multi-channels or single channels, you can really shape things as far as time goes. In fact, one of the things I found really nice is we can have these rebeat or reduce beat functions, which will actually set it in or out of time. Let me turn that off and just bring in my beat as well. Really cool way to approach shaping things. We have a dry wet blend as well if you want to mix it in, allowing a kind of parallel processing, especially if you want to go a little more intense on the processing effect itself, as well as a nice auto gain feature, an auto makeup gain to let the output levels always be matching up to the input levels. Or if you choose to use this for gain staging purposes, you can actually turn that off. So it works really well for that kind of rhythmic reshaping, but it does a lot more than that. Here I've got a lead guitar part. And we're actually using this to add on a bunch of depth and dimension. And we'll see up here we actually have sliders based upon the particular channels, things like the frequency range it's responding to or acting upon. And I really think this waterfall effect gives you a nice visual representation of what's happening, and the ability to come in and manipulate different aspects from the frequency response plot or the waterfall. I like the fact that it gives you multiple points of control. We can adjust any of the effects from an envelope to a filter. We can then select our frequency range and the resonance. We've got a filter drift and duration for both the low and the high. So definitely a lot of really cool shaping abilities there. All over this little thing I put together, I've got different examples. Here's a nice little synth kind of bass chord. This is just using the synth beat preset. We can hear it with and without. So we got a lot of nice tight envelope reshaping there. So you can almost get these kind of rhythmically reactive gate style effects. And I think that's a really cool use of this without having to go into an actual gating situation. Definitely a lot of really cool tonal and rhythmic shaping, because we can do a lot of rhythmic shaping with this. And there's a lot of nice extra features. One of the things I like is that we can easily resize the window, and we can trigger it on and off. One of the few issues I've seen with it is that it's not an instantaneous bypass, and I tried to do a little bit of automation with it, and it didn't. There's a couple of milliseconds of latency, but there's definitely some workarounds for that in the mixing. It's not a deal breaker by any means. Decent options, so we can actually choose our knob controller handling, so we can set things to rotary, taking host controls, or linear. We can do a MIDI learn function, and if you're on Windows, there's even a standalone application to interface directly with your hardware, which is really cool. And then we have a couple of different skins, and to close and reopen that. There's a lot to like here. I think this is a really interesting concept, and I think it's definitely going to see quite a bit of evolution over time, but it's a powerful way to really get inside of your sounds and add a whole other layer of processing and tonal shaping, both rhythmic and tonal in nature. And we can even come in here and actually lock down the shape, so it changes how the ADSR levels actually react to the current signal. And there's some really nice help menus, and there's some nice pop-ups, and we've got some good metering to kind of walk us through the gain staging aspects of this as well. It's pretty easy to create user banks and define them, create our own presets, save parameters as a new preset, of course A/B comparison, etc. There's a lot to like in this plugin, and I think if you're looking for some new ways to manipulate the transient envelope and look at some different aspects of some of your sounds, something that might be very well worth considering. So yeah, this is Atomic Transient by Molecular Bytes. Definitely a really neat look at transient processing. There's a demo version available, so check it out and see if it works for you. I'm Stephen Ellestad for ADSR. Make sure you subscribe to the ADSR YouTube channel and follow on social media. And have a great day.